Good morning, everyone, and welcome to a very historic day in Wisconsin Timber Rattlers baseball and professional baseball in the Northeastern Wisconsin area. Just to give you a brief rundown, my name is Chris Merring. I'm the Media Relations Director for the team. Speaking in the order will be Rob Zerjav, part owner of Third Base Ventures. Rob will give a brief statement, we'll have a video, and then he'll take questions. Next up will be Craig Dickman of Third Base Ventures. Craig will also make a statement and take questions. And Tom Lair of Appleton Appleton Baseball Club will also make a statement and take questions. Without any further delay, I'd like to welcome to the microphone President of the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers and Fond du Lac Dock Spiders and part of Third Base Ventures, Rob Zerjav.
Okay, thanks first off for everybody coming today. I'd like to thank Craig and Brad and Tom for being here as well. This has taken a lot of cooperation to make this day happen. It's basically taken a handful of groups, starting with the Appleton Baseball Club, the Fox Cities Amateur Sports Authority, the Midwest League, Minor League Baseball, Major League Baseball, the Northwoods League, and obviously Craig Dickman and Brad Raaths as well. It's been a very complex, long, thorough process, but we are happy to be here today, knowing that baseball and the entertainment that we provide is going to be here for a very long time. This organization has had a handful of impactful dates, and this one is going to be one of those dates. In 1995, when we've changed the name to the Appleton Foxes to Wisconsin Timber Rattlers and came into Fox City Stadium. In 2003, when we brought our food and beverage operations in-house. In 2008, when we became a Milwaukee Brewers affiliate. In 2013, when we expanded the stadium and added this space, the club level, to be able to realize year-round revenue. We added a Northwoods League team in Fond du Lac with the Fond du Lac Dock Spiders, and we created them from scratch in 2017. And now today is the first day that we'll have private ownership for the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers. Happy to open this up for questions now. Craig will be coming up after me to take questions. Tom will be coming up after Craig to take questions. If there's any questions that I feel are better served for either Craig or for Tom, I'll kind of defer to them. And then if you want to ask the question to them when they come back up. But with that, I'll open it up for questions. When it first started, we were open to all kinds of ideas. It started with the Timber Rattlers, and obviously the Dock Spiders are part of our family, so we had the thought that we wanted to have all of this as one package. But there's other parties at play there. We started a conversation with the Fox Cities Amateur Sports Authority, who own the facility, just to discuss what the options were. And as we continued those discussions, it made more sense that we take ownership of the stadium as well and have this all under one umbrella. And we've, as I mentioned, there is a lot of different steps to this process. There is a lot of different entities that we had to get approval from. But every step along the way, it just kept going in a positive direction. And that's what led us to where we're at today, where we wanted all of the entities together, and that's what we've been able to do. It's been a struggle. Honestly, we're for the most part a seasonal business. We do have the club space where we'll have events all throughout the year, but baseball takes place April until September. You have your expenses start to expand once we get into February, into March as you're gearing up for the season. And that was no different this year because COVID hit the middle of March. So we were having outlays for different expenses, bobbleheads, getting everything ready for the season. And then all of a sudden COVID hit and everything shut down. So we had all of our expenses for this year, but the revenue without having a season, as was mentioned in the video, we're down 90% this year from a revenue standpoint. Luckily, as we've been going through this process, Craig has been great. We've knew we were going to get to this day someday, so we've been able to sustain and keep our staff on board. That was really important to me when this process first started. How do we save the team? How do we keep the team here? And how do we keep our staff? We have an incredible full-time staff, so dedicated, and the last thing we wanted to do was layoffs and furloughs and pay cuts. and we were able to sustain that. We had a lot of special events throughout the year that helped with some of that. But now we feel very good about our financial future given this transaction. We did have a season in Fond du Lac this past summer. We were at 25% capacity and it worked out fantastic. We had a very successful season down there. Right now our hope is there's still a lot of what ifs when it comes to the Major League Baseball season and the minor league season. We're not sure if it'll be starting in April or if it'll be a delay to our season. Our hope and our thought is once we get into May and into June with vaccines and with where we're trending, that we're going to just be able to open up. But we'll obviously play that by ear and see where we get to. So right now we have a plan in place if we need to social distance and keep fans spread out. But our hope is we're going to be able to be at 100% capacity once we get into the summer months and hopefully back to some sense of normalcy. We definitely have plans in place with our relationship with Major League Baseball, and we're going to be looking at some expansion of the stadium just from a player amenity standpoint. But our plan, and this has been a plan for quite some time, we'd love the stadium to be 360 degrees where you're able to walk around the entire facility. So adding something in left field where fans are able to just see what goes on at the ballpark here. It's funny that when fans, and I've been here for so long, I come to this ballpark and I know every nook and cranny, and to me it seems very small. But when our fans come, they have their seat, they go to their section, and that's where they go, and they don't experience our Brews on Third area or our kids area or the different food options we have at all the different stands. We feel if it's a 360-degree concourse, fans will start to walk around and realize what's all here. So that's one of the big things that we're looking to do. There'll be a lot of small features from point of sale and different fan amenities that we'll be able to add, and still things that we're working through. But obviously we're excited about what's to come in 2021 and in the future. No, actually, from the standpoint of being affiliated with the Brewers, it's a game changer for us, and it was ever since we became a Brewers affiliate in 2008. It's not a secret that the majority of baseball fans in this area are Brewer fans. So the fact that these fans can come out and see the stars of tomorrow, the guys that are going to be playing with the Brewers in just a couple of years, or if there's a rehab start, they're coming here. We had Jonathan Lucroy for 4 games. We've had Ryan Braun for 3 games. And those 2 series were some of the biggest series we've ever had here at the ballpark. People are Brewer fans, so that definitely helps us from a financial standpoint. But the relationship with the Brewers, we aren't owned by the Brewers. They don't give us any revenue. We don't give them any revenue. Basically, the nuts and bolts of how the arrangement has been is we provide them a place to play, and they provide the coaches and the players. So obviously we don't have the player expense, and we don't have the insurance that goes with the players. So that's a big help for us. But there's no direct income or payment that we receive from the Brewers. Yeah, we had memberships, and we've had memberships as the Appleton Baseball Club dating back to the 50s. And it's been a great program for us. In April, we kicked off a program to increase the memberships and let people know how our organization was formed. And we had a great response and a lot of support. We ended up adding about 500 members in April, which was great. We were hoping that if we were going to be able to play a season in June, that was going to be able to get us to June. Unfortunately, as you all know, we didn't have a season this year. And losing 90% of our entire revenue, the memberships didn't necessarily cover that. We do plan, and we've already reached out to all of those team owners, those member shareholders this morning already to let them know that we'll be rebranding that program, and it'll be Timber Rattlers or T-Rats 10. It'll be a new program that they'll still be a part of. So the $50 that they paid, they'll get all their perks next year. There'll be no additional fees next year. So they'll get their tickets to opening day, they'll get their guaranteed bobblehead, they'll get their picnic and the game and all the other perks that go along with it. So that program is going to continue. It just won't be in the form that people are used to. Because we're shaped a little bit differently, and we, as the Appleton Baseball Club, and I can let Tom kind of touch on this as well, we're a community-owned team. And at the end of the day, Appleton Baseball Club's goal is to keep the team here in Appleton, not to walk away with a big payday. So there was a lot of things going on at the time. So to answer your question, Mike, Craig was the first person that we reached out to, and then ended up being the only person that we reached out to. It was very important that we found the right person, somebody that was in the area, somebody that knew the team, had a background, and Craig's background was a board member of ours, somebody that we were familiar with and knew wasn't going to look to move the team or change everything that we've worked so hard to accomplish. And at the same time, there was all this indecision going on with Major League Baseball. There was 160 minor league teams, and they were going to be cutting that down to 120. And we had a good feeling we were going to be a part of that 120, but we didn't know back in April and May what the situation was going to be. So the last thing we wanted to do was make it publicly known that we were looking for a new ownership group. We didn't want any question in Major League Baseball's head that, well, maybe we shouldn't have the Timber Rattlers as part of this 120. So we tried to keep it as quiet as possible. And we talked to Craig. We thought he was the perfect person for this opportunity. And as you'll probably see when you talk to him, we were extremely impressed and knew that this was the right way to go, and we didn't need to go any further. Actually, I spoke with the Brewers. We were the host for their alternate site this summer, so we had a lot of interaction with the Brewers. So I had a chance to talk with David Stearns. I had a chance to talk to Tom Flanagan. So they were well aware, and it was important that they were comfortable with this direction as well. They were very supportive, and they're excited about this opportunity for us. They're excited to move forward with this. Didn't really talk about the ownership from the standpoint of them owning the Carolina Mudcats. But I know they're going to be supportive moving forward. So again, thank you all for coming today. Really appreciate it. And I'm going to bring up the new majority owner of the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers, the Fond du Lac Dock Spiders, and Neuroscience Group Field at Fox City Stadium, Craig Dickman.
Thanks so much, Rob, and good morning. As Rob said, really excited to be here today, and we've got a lot of people to thank. But I think it really begins with two special thank yous before we get started. And the first is to the community. When you think that baseball has been in this community since 1891, it's gone through different ownership structures, different leagues, different affiliations, different names. But, as they say, the one constant has been baseball. Through everything that's happened, baseball has survived and found a way to continue to be part of the fabric of this community. As Rob said, COVID couldn't be anticipated, but baseball survives and will continue to be a really deep and meaningful part of this community. And so we feel really proud and excited to be part of the group that's taking the next chapter of baseball here in the region, knowing that this won't be the last chapter for baseball in this region either. We'll hold as long as we can, do the best things that we can, and know that baseball will continue to thrive in this community. So being part of this community is so very important. And so we're proud to have and be a small part of this next chapter. The second group that I wanted to stop and thank today is that incredible staff that Rob referenced. And so proud that so many are here today. But the Timber Rattlers would not be the Timber Rattlers without the people. It's the culture, the people doing incredible things every day. And so for me, it's really exceptionally fun to return knowing, as Rob said, I was here the first year he became president, was here when the Brewers became the affiliation, was board chair, had a number of familiar faces in the organization that when I came back could pick up seemingly right where we left off and continue to talk about how to make this organization exceptional. And so I just want to say thanks to everyone that makes this place really unique. We've talked a little bit about the transaction, and anytime you make a transaction, it's incredibly complex. Doing so in this time with not only COVID, not only with the shutdown of the minor leagues this year, but with the change in the minor league, major league affiliate, extremely complex. But what made it possible was early on, we got all the parties together. Tom, Appleton Baseball Club, the group from the Sports Authority, the Timber Rattlers organization, and knew that we all had a single purpose. And the single purpose was to position the Timber Rattlers extraordinarily well for the future and make sure that the team not only survived but thrived, make sure we had a place that the staff could continue to feel proud of being part of, that the objectives that Appleton Baseball and everyone involved had was the same thing, to make sure we could continue to be part of the community, continue to bring professional baseball to this region, continue to bring independent ball to Fond du Lac, and continue to create an exceptional community experience. And what I've learned in any transaction, no matter how complex, is when people are coming together for the right purpose with a shared vision, you work through all the little complexities very well. You don't work through them quickly, but you work through them well. And we've been really fortunate to have a group of people who all had that single and shared purpose. And so finally, I also want to thank Rob and Brad for being part of this new team. You know, I think anytime that you're putting together organizations, again, the people that you choose to work with are the most important starting decision to make. And Rob and his family who are here, my family who's here, Brad, you know, we feel, you know, a great deal of excitement, a great deal of responsibility, and we're really looking forward to bringing an exceptional experience to baseball as soon as the world's ready to bring baseball back, and hopefully that'll be an exciting time in 2021. So again, thank you. We're excited for this next chapter and look forward to when we can all get back and enjoy a hot dog at the ballpark. Thank you. Yeah, and I think that, so as we look at putting this together, you know, I think what I really chose to do is figure out what was a team that I wanted to work with and make sure we had, you know, a really strong team. I think you'd find that we work as very equal partners in this process, so it's almost as if the percentage doesn't matter a whole lot. And what was most important is, especially for baseball, that, you know, Rob was going to be in the driver's seat when it came to making decisions about the club, working with Major League Baseball. And so while I'm the majority owner, we each play a role in this transaction that I think are really important. Each play a role going forward with this club. And the important thing is for everyone, Rob is going to be the guy who's driving and is the decision maker for this ownership group with the ball team, excuse me. And what's interesting is, I think what was really important for the organizations that we're acquiring from, that was important for minor league and Major League Baseball going forward, was to recognize that this team had the financial strength not only to make the transaction, but also to make some of the changes that are necessary and be in a strong position going forward. So I think we've got the right financial structure for the team, not only for the transaction, but going forward, and feel we're in a great position. Right, I would say we certainly hope to. And so I think part of what will challenge is the creativity of the staff to find more ways to bring the community out for events. And so I think we've got a really open mind, a lot of ambition to do those sort of things. I think the team does a great job when people are in, not only from the experience, but from food, beverage, and all the aspects of bringing people out here. And so I think we're going to explore as many different opportunities as we can and hope to continue to bring new things to Fox City Stadium. With that, I appreciate everyone coming in, and I'm really excited to introduce Tom Lair, the president or the chairman of Appleton Baseball Club. It's interesting, you know, Tom and I held the same jobs for a while, so I had the chance to be a chair earlier, and Tom's been exceptional to work with, and I'd like to welcome and thank Tom and bring him up to the stage. Thank you.
Thank you, Craig. As Craig said, I'm board chair for the Appleton Baseball Club. I was elected to the chairman's position in January of this year. And at that time, no one foresaw the events that would take place during 2020. But as we went through February and into March, it became clear that COVID was going to impact all of us, and including the Timber Rattlers team. And so we went through a process where the team needed to figure out how to first survive and then maintain and then eventually thrive. And I never ever expected as board chair that I would be in a position of taking a team that was community owned for over 100 years and looking at turning that into private ownership under my watch. But as we played the hand that was dealt with us, that became apparent that we were going to need to make some changes. So as we looked for eventually what turned out to be an owner, our criteria was to look for a partner, if that delineation makes sense. Is we sought a partner for the Timber Rattlers, for the Appleton Baseball Club, that shared the same values, visions, and aspirations that we did, with the center point of keeping professional baseball in the Appleton community, now and for the foreseeable future. And I can't tell you how proud I am that we were able to successfully find a partner, an owner, in Craig in Third Base Ventures. For that, I thank you very much. It's been a difficult road for me and an emotional road, but we have the best outcome that I could possibly ever hope for. And I feel strongly that this team is well positioned to thrive for many, many years. Appleton Baseball Club and the team will be here for as many years as I can foresee in the future, with Third Base Venture owning both the stadium as well as the team, this facility. I envision and foresee that this will be here for probably my entire lifetime. No guarantees, but that's what we strive to look for when we look for an owner and a partner, and that's what we found in Craig. Well, as I said, with COVID, and as Rob commented, is we lost 90% of our revenue. And at the time, we have no assurances that there would even be baseball in 2021. So we had to figure out a way to survive. So with the financial support of Third Base Ventures, we are now solid to be able to move forward, to expand the team, to expand the club, and to make this a fantastic experience for our fan base. Everything is invested back into the team itself, 100%. All right, with that, I'll turn it back over to Rob.
Again, thank you all for coming, and we look forward to having you all back here when we have baseball again.